us here on iHeartRadio, also AMFM247.com. We're also on our Twitch live stream for whatever whatever that's worth anymore. We have also we're also on Periscope as well on Twitter, and we have a tremendous guest with us today. He joins us from a place that I wish I lived in, Las Vegas, Nevada. The fantastic Rico Constantino. How are you, sir?
Thank you. Boy, that was a great intro. My gosh. I was like, is somebody else coming in?
Yeah, somebody else
such
coming
a great
in?
interest. Is he talking about me?
I
almost got up out of the chair.
It's like I always say whenever people in restaurants will say, sir, I'll be like, who walked in behind me? But,
yeah. Sir? You actually called me sir? Yeah. But, yeah, I'm doing great. Las Vegas, we're at, my gosh, right, and it's not even the peak of the day. We're sitting at right at 106.
Jeez.
We're supposed to get up to 108, 109. Now, that 106 is at our airport.
Oh,
now,
wow.
I live a little higher up, and the valley differs in certain areas depending on where the sun is. My car said 115 on the way in, and like I told you, I just literally busted through the door because I had a last-minute emergency I had to take care of. So, I mean, that's why I got my hat on.
Hey.
Usually I take my hat off, but today we're gonna get the Cobra hat.
That's
today.
right. Well, a little behind the scenes. Usually I do a lot of times I'll do pre-interviews with people, and usually they're like 5 minutes long, and they basically talk to me and they get the details. We get things worked out. We go from there. Well, I did a pre-interview with Rico at his request. We talked for an hour and a half. A little bit about everything, and one of my pro wrestling buddies here locally, the Mangler, told me, I told him, I'm like, I'm on Rico next week, and I said we did a pre-interview, and it was an hour and a half, and he goes, you guys are like two peas in a pod.
There you go. I mean, I have been blessed. God has blessed me with such a varied life. I mean, I'm like jack of all trades, master of none.
Oh my God.
Did you see the Wikipedia?
Yes. Well, I'll tell you, I've followed your career for a heck of a long time, and you've done a little bit of everything. We obviously are not going to get to all of that today.
No. Unfortunately, it'd have to be a mini-series.
But first of all, I always like to compliment people on their Skype backgrounds. I love the fish. I do like the fish in the chair.
I love
it's
fish.
great.
Okay, on this side, this is my Amazon, my South American cichlids. I grew these guys when they were this big.
Holy smokes!
They're now bigger than my hand. This is Eek. He's a tiger Oscar.
Yes.
This is Runt. He's an albino tiger Oscar. And up in the corner, I got an African leaf fish. His name's Spot. And hiding is a Jack Dempsey, and his name's Muggsy, because he's got like the 40s gangster James Cagney look. Yeah,
James
say,
Cagney.
want to shoot him? Come on, say. And he's hiding. You can't see me, say. See, so that's why he got named Muggsy. And then on my other side here, I have an African cichlid tank. These guys just got promoted. They were in a 29-gallon tank, and I just promoted them to a 75-gallon tank.
Oh,
so they're pretty
God.
good. I've got 3 tiger barbs. That's my jailbirds.
Yes.
I have 4 convict cichlids. That's my chain gang. I've got 3 blue acaras, electric blue.
Oh my God.
They're called my pet boys, Manny, Mo, and Jack. And I've got 4 Bolivian ram cichlids, and those are my cartel.
My God, you got a little bit of everything over there, brother.
Yeah, and I have actually a man-made cichlid. It's called a blood red parrot. They cross 2 species, and it's the ugliest looking thing you got, but he's so cute.
Well,
and that's just 3, and then I got an African cichlid in a 5. I've got 4 of them in there, and the African cichlids come from 3 lakes: Lake Malawi, Lake Tanganyika, and Lake Victoria. and some are imbunas, and the imbunas are more the aggressive, so they're in their own little tank. And then I have a 20-gallon long on the other side and a 10-gallon, and I have something called a biker fish, Bichir. They're from the prehistoric era.
Wow.
There's fossils up, and they're long-gated fish with flippers for fins. You can see where they had legs, but they're long and they're interesting. One's ornate and one's a sentinel, and the big one was wild caught. So I got him right from Egypt, and I'm growing 2 babies that are captive bred. And then downstairs I've got that 29 that was here. My granddaughter won a goldfish this big, not this last patch St. Patrick's Day, the year before. This big. Now he's this big. It's a goldfish at a carnival. So I had to buy him a roommate so he could have somebody to swim around with.
That's right.
But I used to do salt, but I work a lot, and salt takes a lot of extra effort. These do too, because these are specialty fish.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the go down, get your minnows and
I'll tell you. We definitely, if they have the Adult Video News Awards in Vegas in January, we always come out there every year, and I literally am going to plan just an hour for you and my girlfriend Brittany Baxter to talk fish, because everything you were saying, I hear those names all the time from her. Cichlid's this and Cichlid's that, and
yeah. And some are very pretty, very colorful. I mean, I've got their yellow and black stripes, but you got to go with their temperament. Like I said, I've raised these guys. These guys can last 15 years.
That's that's what she's told me. She's like these fish will live for 15, 20 years or so.
Now, funny, if time for time, they will come back and forth and watch you on the monitor. That's how you can see they're actually looking at you.
That's awesome.
I mean, like they play all the time. This is Runt, and he's coming to take a look, and then pretty soon he could get mad and chase Runt back to his side of the tank. You know, but you'll see he's looking. He's going, okay, who's the guy? Here comes he.
That's
now, not only, they recognize me, and it's not because I just feed them. I fed them. Now, when I shake the food jars, they really get excited, but they recognize me. But it's just interesting. And so the Skype is on my bed, and I lay on my right side. So when I go to sleep, this is what I see when I go to sleep, and they're on a timer. So I set the timer for like 10:30, and I'm asleep by 10.
Yeah.
So, and then they go to sleep.
Wow.
So,
that's pretty awesome. That's pretty fantastic. Yeah. We have got a great guest with us today. Rico Constantino is with us today. He joins us live here on our big program here on iHeartRadio, and also all over the damn place, Facebook Live, Periscope, all these places. But Rico, one of the things, you know, and I know we're not going to, like I said, we're not going to get a chance to get into everything here today. But so far we've talked about fish, which I didn't think we were ever going to talk about. I didn't think we were going to spend 10 minutes talking about fish. But that is awesome. I want to talk to you about your law enforcement background, because you have had quite the career doing stuff out there in Vegas. You know, give me some old war stories, because I know there was one we talked about on the phone. Between a cab driver wanted to take a
disclaimer. If I start rambling and going down a rabbit hole, please cut me off.
No,
so I'm
I
will. Disclaimer myself and get me back on track, because it just goes from one thing to the other. Law enforcement, remind me what we were talking about.
You told me a story on the phone that I gotta have you tell here about a cab driver one time who refused to take a check from an old woman.
Oh my gosh! All right. Yes. That kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Yes. Well, it did me too when I was talking to you.
I think it was about 2007, 2008, and I'm a supervisor, so we get this call that a taxi cab was at a residence, not a hotel, with an $83 taxi cab fare, which is a lot for a local to have.
Oh, yeah.
And that, and I said, okay, he's probably long routed her, probably turned the meter on early, and you're going through the scenario in your head. So I know where the area is, and I have a partner, and we go there, and I talk to this driver, and I said, okay, why is the meter so high? He said, well, I picked her up, took her to the doctor, and she went to get a prescription refill, so she ran in. I kept the meter running, which is legal.
Well, yeah.
He said then, and then he said, then she had to go pick up the prescription. So I went there, and she asked me to come in the store with her. Okay, and had to keep the meter running, which is legal.
Yeah.
And then she did a little bit of shopping, and he helped. Then he brought the groceries back to the car, and then they drove her home, and then he helped her take all the groceries and stuff in the house. So it was explainable. And just the guy's demeanor was not that of, like he was trying to take advantage of a senior citizen. He was just, like I said, you could just tell right off the bat just by looking by somebody whether they're telling the truth or not.
Yeah.
And he was. Yeah. And he was kind of sorrowful. He goes, she looks like my grandma. I don't want to press charges. But if he doesn't pay that fare, that cab company takes it out of his check.
Yes.
The cab company gets paid.
Yes.
And it's not a request. It's a jack.
Yeah.
That cab company will jack that $83.
Yeah.
So I said, I'll go talk to her. Now, as I'm walking up to the garage is open like this. And as I'm walking up, about 6 or 7 cats come running out from the garage. And I went, uh-oh. Cat lady. Okay. Now my mind's in a different spot.
Yeah.
So I go to the door, and it has, like, the thin glass on either side, kind of etched. You can see inside, but you can't.
Oh, yeah.
So I knock on the door, and here comes this small figure. I'm assuming it's a lady. You can tell there's a wig on his head. That's how bad the wig was, with a baseball hat.
That's awesome.
Yes. I said, this is the police, ma'am, Officer Constantino. I need to talk to you about your cab ride. Oh, I paid him. No, ma'am, you didn't pay him. Oh, yeah, I paid him with a check. Ma'am, they don't accept checks. They do credit cards or cash. And I said, can you do me a favor and open the door? I don't want to talk to the door. And she goes, okay. So she opens it. She's about 5 feet, 4'11". Older lady, I'd say 70s.
Yeah.
But then I'm looking, and all the carpet has been ripped up in the house. Smells like cat. All the furniture pushed up against the wall. So we walk into the kitchen area, and you know that pit that people buy and they put the wood in and they sit around?
Oh, yeah.
It's not like a barbecue, but it's that little pit you talk around the fire, roast marshmallows.
Yeah,
she had one of those things sitting on the island in the kitchen with cigarette butts, about 200, 300 of them, just sticking straight up, And I kind of like, oh, my God. I look, and the TV's on with a recliner. So my partner comes in, and I'm trying to tell her, she's got to pay, you took the ride, and then I said, and then my partner comes in, and then I said, I'm not getting through. So there's something wrong. I'm on the high road, she's on the low road.
Yeah.
So I turn it over to my partner. Maybe he will have better success in communicating. Because the last thing I want to do is issue a citation to a lady or take this lady to jail. I mean, come on.
That too.
So you don't want to do that.
Yes.
And I don't want the driver to get
you don't want him getting dinged.
I mean, if she came up with 40 or 50 bucks, I'm pretty sure he'd have taken it and then ate the 30,
Oh, yeah.
He was that type of driver, a good driver.
Yeah.
So I let my partner take over, and I said, let me find out who this lady is. So I start looking around, and I see prescription bottles that she had just got.
Yeah.
So when I go and I look at the name, and my heart drops. Okay, now, with that being said, I'm sure everybody saw the movie Casino.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay. With De Niro and Pesci.
Oh, yeah.
And, Pesci's character, they called him Santoro on the movie. The actual name is Tony Spilotro. Was the actual name.
Yes.
When they came here, he developed the Hole in the Wall gang, and that's when major crime started really happening in Las Vegas. He made too much noise. Long story short, somebody, don't know who, somebody made an example of him and his brother. Beat him with baseball bats and put him in a shallow grave somewhere, I think in Idaho. I know it was a cornfield.
Jesus.
Beat him up and left them in their underwear so they would be found.
Yes.
So that's Anthony Spilotro. It's the guy that our former mayor, Oscar Goodman, would defend in a court of law.
Yeah.
So, so he was taken away and, like I said, dispatched of.
Oh, yeah.
Mob style, which is no mob, but that style.
Yeah.
So, I look at the prescription bottle, and on it, guess whose name it was? Nancy Spilotro.
Oh, boy.
And I know more about this because my dad was an entertainer here in town.
Yes.
My dad was on the Ed Sullivan Show. He had a couple records. He used to open all the acts at the Desert Inn, at the Stardust. Jimmy Durante, for those people who are older, was my brother's godfather.
Wow.
I mean, I've kissed more right-hand ring fingers and knew more guys with the middle name The than I can't remember.
That's awesome.
I was here in Old Vegas. I was born here in '61.
Wow.
At Sunrise Hospital.
Wow.
Sunrise is still there. So when I saw Nancy Spilotro, my heart went doom. So I said, I'll go right back to my partner. I ran out to the cab driver. I said, hey, dude, you're going to take a check. No, we're going to take a check.
You're going to take a check.
Let me explain this to you.
That's awesome.
I said, you ever seen the movie Casino? Yeah. Do you know Pesci's character? Yeah. I said, do you know what his name was? Spilotro. Yeah. I said, this is Anthony Spilotro's widow. He went, what? I said, yeah. You have me press charges or I write her a ticket to take her to jail. There's going to be 2 phone calls made. One to Oscar Goodman and one to 2 guys with the middle name The. And we're going to be wearing cement scuppies taking a swim in the lake.
Yep.
So she's writing a check and you're going to take it. He says, yep. So I go in and I said, I told my partner, I said, you know what? The driver said he's going to take a check. How about that? And my partner, so he goes, okay. I said, my partner, help her write out the check because she's old.
Well,
she's got to write the company down.
Yeah.
And he's over there trying to tell her how to spell it. And she's sitting there and she puts the number amount, but she's got to write out the number amount.
Yeah.
So right about that point, he says, ma'am, you have to write out $83 and the cents. And she looks dead in his eye from looking. She looks up at him and goes, you know what? You remind me of my husband. And I went, oh my God. Write the check. Let's go. Let's go. So wrote the check.
Let's go.
And we left. But that was a name I did never, ever expect to see.
That you'd run into that.
Never.
That's awesome. We have got Rico Constantino with us today. He joins us live here in our program here on iHeartRadio. And also AMFM, 247.com. He is fantastic. I am so glad that we are able to make this work today. Rico joins us from his what looks like to be a very exciting background there in Las Vegas. He's got the chair. You got the fish. Is there a story behind the chair? Because the chair is awesome. The chair is awesome.
Yeah, I'm well, if you saw my characters, I wore tiger stripes.
Oh yeah.
Snake skin, alligator. I'm all about the jungle look. I like the jungle look. I've got stripes. The lamp that's on has got zebra stripes on it, stuff like that. I like that stuff.
That's awesome. So,
either that or Egyptian. Anything during the King Tut era.
Wow.
I'm a mark for that.
You're a mark for King Tut. That's awesome.
Yeah, everything the young boy king, how it was never.
Yeah.
Just what he went through and just.
Oh yeah.
It's just fascinating history. Yeah. Fascinating.
Well, you also were on American Gladiators. This is fascinating to me. That
too many hits in the head with the chair.
Because I remember growing up and watching American Gladiators, and it was like a reality show before there were reality shows.
It was.
Tell me the story, because I know you told me on the phone when we were talking, and this is great. This is one of those stories I gotta have you retell. when you won the Gladiators, you'd signed a deal to where you couldn't let anybody know. Obviously, reality shows, that's kind of what they do.
Gag order. Gag order.
Yeah. So you were in a bar, or you were working behind a bar, and they had American Gladiators on, and people realized you were on there, and the guy serving them drinks was the guy on the TV.
Yeah. It was called Parker's Seafood Grill. It was on Balboa Island in Newport Beach. I was the, I don't like the word bouncer. It's so primitive. I was the attitude adjuster.
There you go.
So, I would adjust their attitude so they could stay and have fun,
Yes.
And Gladiators came on Sundays, and then all of a sudden people were watching, and all of a sudden they were going, "Is that you?" Yeah, that's me. And then the whole bar, every week I would go when I was on. I mean, there was preliminary, quarterfinal, semifinal, and final.
Yeah.
And they went nuts when I won it because I couldn't say nothing, but here I am. They're watching it, and that's taking the place of football games, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
In Southern California, because I'm from Santa Ana, or to them, that's where I announced I was from, because that's where I was living.
Yeah.
So they said from Santa Ana, so here I was, the local boy, representing everybody in Southern Cal. So, my gosh. And even when I won, the Orange County Register put me on the front page, color picture.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's how big Gladiators was.
Wow. So how did you end up on Gladiators? Did they have like a casting call, or how did this work,
but they
brother?
did. Yeah, I was working construction, and I was was Santa Ana Airport. They turned into John Wayne Airport. They made it bigger.
Oh,
and I
wow.
was part of the general contractors labor. And I worked with laborers, cement. Well, I got hurt. My leg got twisted in rebar, and I strained or bruised one of my ACL, MCLs, and I was at home recuperating.
Yeah.
And a commercial came on, and Gemini popped on the screen and says, "All you contenders, try out for the American Gladiators." and I'm like, oh my God, this guy's talking to me. So
got a promo on me.
I'm getting ready. You just challenged me. You don't do that with a kid with ADD, OCD. You can't do that. Autism. I mean, you just lay down a challenge, because he looked right in the camera.
Oh,
it was a good promo for me.
It was.
So I started training. I got tapes of the first season, which was a pilot. I don't know why they call it the first season, but it was a pilot season.
Yeah.
And that champion was a gentleman named Lucian Anderson.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm what's considered season 2, after Samuel Goldwyn and 4 Point picked up the show.
Oh, yeah.
And got a producer by the name of Eitan Keller.
Yeah.
You might have heard of Eitan. He produced America's Funniest Home Videos.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the type of producer he was. So they did a 4 or 5 city casting call, and I'm confused with the numbers. It was either 12,000 people or 15,000 people.
Yeah.
Were all tried out.
Yeah.
And I did mine at Universal Studios. And out of all that, they picked 20 men and 20 women. And I was lucky, because I guess the producer was out there. Not only did I go through the contender tryout, he put me through the Gladiator tryout.
Wow.
Because the first season had Nitro, Laser, Gemini, and then a guy named Titan and a guy named Malibu. Well, those 2 were cut, and they were trying. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they put 2 new guys in there. One was Turbo, about 260, and the other guy was Thunder, 275, the big blonde guy.
Oh, yeah.
So I started training and stuff. I was running on the beach in tennis shoes, like running 40-yard dashes, doing, trying to get my moves, running up a hill, windy hill, and jog back down, run up a windy hill, jog back down, along with my regular workouts. Yeah. I would climb the inside of baseball backstops to simulate the wall, get my fingers straight, and stuff like that. So I did all that prior to going there. And then, like I said, they picked 20 men and 20 women. I was one of 20. And they gave us a 2-day, like 8 hours a day, to go through all the events without the Gladiators. To run the Eliminator. Had a Marine come from Camp Pendleton teach us how to joust. We got to try out the wall. A lot of pegs on it, but as the show went further in, they would take pegs off and make it a lot harder to climb the wall. So the pegs were never in the same spot. You got to try with Powerball, break through and conquer.
Oh, yeah.
Swing on the rope.
Yeah.
Get in the gerbil ball, the atmosphere. That's what I call it, the gerbil ball.
The gerbil
I mean,
ball.
when Gemini and I got finished hitting each other with that thing,
Yeah.
they used to have to take the sledgehammer about that big and whack the dents back out so the ball would roll evenly. That's how hard. And Gemini was at least 265. He used to be.
You weren't a kid when you weren't a kid when he cut the promo on you. You're like, that's who I'm coming for, Gemini.
Oh, yeah. He played.
That's
his
awesome.
name's Mike Horton. He played for the New England Patriots.
Wow.
So he was a pro football player.
Yeah. Holy
so
smokes.
That's how I got on.
So you got on Gladiators. You win this thing.
Yep. I won the fall season.
So, what is that like? Do they shoot everything all in one day, or
okay?
What's the shooting schedule like for something like that?
It's about a 10-day, 12-day shoot. They run the fall season and the spring season at the same time.
Yeah.
So at the end, you'll get two champions: a fall champion, which I was, and a spring champion, which is a gentleman named Craig Branham. Yeah. And the next day, the two champions face each other and you get a grand champion.
Wow.
Well, during the championship, my side, I got a concussion. Nitro threw the bag like it was going to throw the bag. I ducked my head because I was running across the balance beam.
Yeah.
And then he threw it and it hit me on top of the head, and it gave me a concussion.
Crap.
So I asked the guys, if you give me 1 day to recuperate,
I'll
go to the Grand Championship. They said, no, either you do it or you're going to get replaced.
Yeah.
I said, well, if I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose on my own. I'm not getting replaced. I've done too much work. So Craig ended up beating me by a few points in the Grand Championship.
That's amazing. You had a concussion and he only beat you by a few points.
Yeah. Yeah, anything. I fell off the wall, which I never did. Then I did hang tough. Yeah. Anything at a height that I had to look up, I couldn't do because I was dizzy.
Concussed.
But everything else I did.
Yeah.
Then that whole year after that, I won. I took off time and I donated my time to about 10 different children's charities.
That's awesome.
And I did free as American Gladiator champion.
Yeah.
Had my belt. Had the uniform. I do celebrity golf tournaments, Special Olympics, cerebral palsy, Adam Walsh, muscular dystrophy, diabetes.
Awesome.
I did them all. And I remember getting a phone call from one of the lawyers from Samuel Goldwyn, and because it got out that I was doing this.
Yeah.
They said, okay, well, we need a record of all your charity events, and we need to know what you made.
Yeah.
In all those charity events, because we get 10%. You using our name and our trademark, you owe us money. And I say, so how fast can you get this set up and sent to us? I said, wow. It's going to take me about 3 seconds to get all that done. And they said, what do you mean by 3 seconds? I said, because I never got paid. So what's 10% of zero, pal? Zero. I said, and all I ask from those charities is to feed me.
Oh, yeah.
Feed me. That's all I asked.
Yeah.
And a couple of charities did give me a check.
Yeah.
And I turned around, signed it, and I said, put it in the kitty.
There you go.
Because I wasn't there to get paid. I was there to
you were there to actually
help raise money
charity
for the people who need. Yeah.
It's amazing.
I was the DARE spokesman for Fontana, California.
Wow.
The DARE graduated 10,000 students at one time.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, I was in a stadium. That was an honor, too. I got to do a lot of things because of Gladiators. Then I went into stunt work. I got hired by Universal, and I was in the Conan the Barbarian show. I played a bad guy named Azura, and then I got hired as Batman.
Wow.
I played Batman at Six Flags.
You were Batman.
I was the Michael Keaton Batman.
The good Batman.
So I was the 89 Batman. And which is my favorite. And I didn't think Affleck was going to do that good, but I'm happy with Affleck. doing the Batman character.
Oh,
I think he did it.
I'm just glad Michael Keaton's back as Batman. I don't know if you've heard that news.
No, is he back?
He signed a deal to come back to do some Batman stuff. He's going to be in a
Thank God,
Flash
'cause I heard they're
movie.
gonna use the guy from Twilight.
He's going to have his own spin-off Batman movie. Yeah.
I'll be spinning off the channel, I'll tell you that. That guy's not Batman.
No.
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton's Batman. That's right.
That's the Batman.
So
I was on. Go ahead.
So American Gladiators. This thing sprung you into all sorts of stuff. You were talking stunt work. You got the Batman gig at Six Flags. That pretty much, if you wouldn't have had Gladiators, it'd be probably a totally different deal for you now.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't have had the oomph behind it. You know, I'd have had to try out like everybody else.
Yeah.
But the Gladiator and being the athlete that I was gave me the kind of the oomph.
Yeah.
The little bit extra. And I'm gonna shoot ahead real quick. And I think that's why Vince let me keep my name as Rico, because when I got in, like I said, I debuted on television at 40 years old, right after WrestleMania 18.
Yeah.
And I was on SmackDown. So I was on Thursday, Saturday, Velocity, and then ESPN2 during the week with Gladiators.
Yeah.
So I was getting TV time like crazy. So Vince was marketing that.
Yeah.
You know, and which he should. You know, it's a smart business. So I was getting a lot of airtime.
That's awesome. It's fantastic.
So that's why I got to keep my real name. That's why I wasn't known as something else.
That's right. V the Vindicator or one of these guys.
Whatever. Who knows what he thought of. He gave me those two characters to flop.
That too.
You know, and the only reason why I was up there is because JR endorsed me.
Yeah.
Cornette endorsed me. Danny Davis endorsed me. Kenny Bolin. And the one and only Stone Cold. Star Maker had some words.
Oh, my God.
And the only reason why I became a heel is because of Star Maker. Because I got hurt as a face.
Yeah.
And then I got my patella tendon torn. And Bolin talked to Cornette, said, Rico's getting ready to come back. Can I have him? I want to bring him a heel. Well, Cornette told him he was crazy. He's our top baby face. He'll never be heel. Bolin said, give me 6 weeks with him.
Wow.
6, he will be a heel. It only took 3.
That's fantastic.
Then after I turned heel, I brought in my prototype, John Cena.
We just had Star Maker Bolin on our Sunday show this last week.
Okay.
Oh my God, Kenny is great. We do a thing.
Yeah.
We do a thing every December with during Christmas. We always have we tape our Christmas episode, and our Christmas episode is always Christmas with the Star Maker.
There you go. He is definitely interesting, and a lot of people don't understand him. I've known him over 20 years now, and you know, he even when I first met him, we bumped heads.
Oh yeah, he comes off. I don't know if he does that on purpose or what it is, but
no, I just think he's just that way. He's just Kenny Bolin.
He's just Kenny Bolin.
I can't even put a moniker on it or an adjective.
That's right.
Kenny Bolin could be an adjective.
That's right.
You're a Kenny Bolin.
You're
person.
a Kenny Bolin.
That could be an adjective.
Well, the first year,
Bolin personality.
First year we did the Star Maker Christmas special, we had him take on a Trump supporter, and that did not go well in the Trump supporters' direction.
No.
And then we came to find out later that guy is a huge fan of wrestling. And he was like, man, I was laughing the whole time on the inside because I'm like, oh my God, Star Maker Bolin, I used to watch him on OVW TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool. So another thing that I want to cover today, and like I said, due to the fact we started a little late, anytime you need to go, you let me know, and we will.
I'm yours. I'm okay. I told you I cleared 2 hours for you. I don't know if we're gonna go that long, but I cleared.
Well, I want to talk about this. You were part of these, and I remember these growing up in elementary school. They used to have these these, I don't know what you would call them. They would be like inspirational guys, and they were breaking.
Motivational.
There you go. They were breaking
speakers.
ice and bricks and all these things, and they would come to the schools, and they would do all these things, and then they would have a church that they were supporting. So then they would have people go. They would try to get people to go to the church that evening. How did you get involved with some of these? Because this is a pretty cool concept.
Well, okay, I'm Italian, okay, Sicilian.
Yeah.
So I was brought up Roman Catholic.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so baptized, that kind of stuff. So I was brought up Roman Catholic.
Yeah.
And after winning the Gladiators, I got invited to a conference called AIM, Athletes International Ministries.
Yes.
It's where all Christian athletes go with, and the leader there is Larry Karachuk. Very wonderful man.
Oh, yeah.
So I got invited, and I'm there with my girlfriend, who was a Rams cheerleader, and we show up.
Of course she was.
And I'm there with my white American Gladiator shirt, my belt, white pants, and we walk in, and I'm met by Meadowlark Lemon.
Wow.
Harlem Globetrotters.
Harlem Globetrotters, Meadowlark Lemon.
He says, I want you to be on my show tonight. I said, oh, really? Okay. So I said, let me get settled, and we'll go do this. So I go get changed and stuff, and I do the show. And he starts asking me questions, and I'm telling him all about me. And then he comes up with the question, do you know the Lord Jesus Christ as your Savior?
Yeah.
I said, yeah. He goes, how do you know? I'm Catholic. Nope. I went, and I'm on TV. He goes, nope, that's not it. I was baptized. Nope, that's not it. Do you know the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? Do you have him in your heart? And I'm like, I think I do. And now I'm lost.
Now he's planted a seed of doubt in you.
Oh, he did, because my answers weren't right, and I thought I was right.
Yeah.
He says, well, would you like to accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior? And he led me to the Lord on his television show.
Wow.
I accepted Jesus on TV.
That's awesome.
So then I got involved in church, and it was all the athletes in LA.
Yeah.
We all went to this same church.
Yeah.
And I was studying, and then the girlfriend and I had to do abstaining.
Yeah.
And I dove in full force. And there was a gentleman named Tom Sorotnick, who knew John Jacobs and the Power Team.
Yes.
That was the group that did this.
Yeah.
And after a few months, like I said, I didn't go right from getting saved right to this group.
Yeah.
After classes and Sunday school and counseling and being with Tom and getting my life right, to live, not only talk it, but walk it.
Oh, yeah.
You got to walk it if you're going to talk it.
Yes.
You got to do that. So he was coaching me on the way to walk and talk and teaching me Bible study every week. So he says, listen, you'd be perfect for John. John's coming into town. I want you to be part of this power team. I think John's going to love you. Yeah. And the American Gladiators helps.
Well, that too. Yeah,
because on there was a guy named Mike Hagan, who was a running back for the Seattle Seahawks.
Wow.
Keith Davis was the all college NCAA linebacker. There were a couple other people. And then me as the Gladiators.
Yeah.
So we were using our fame to get people's attention.
Yeah.
And then doing these stupid feats of strength, believe me. I mean, I'm putting my head through 2 feet of concrete. My elbows on fire, ripping phone books in half, blowing up hot water bottles.
Oh, yeah, I remember the hot water bottles.
Yeah, and I got a deviated septum, so I only got one nostril. So I'm at a handicap already.
Oh, jeez.
But there wasn't a water bottle that ever beat me. So
that's awesome.
So I go and I meet John, and we have a talk in a hotel, and John goes, okay, I'll give you a 2-week tryout. 2 weeks. I said, okay. So he sends me 2 weeks, turned into a 2-year job.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, I never left. I ended up moving from California to Texas.
Yeah.
And what the group was about is that you can't say Jesus or God in schools, but we would go in there, they'd introduce us, introduce our backgrounds, which would get the kids' attention, and then we start smashing these bricks, breaking Louisville sluggers.
Oh, yeah, I remember all
Louisville
that.
sluggers,
Yeah.
breaking the bricks, never did them on fire, hot water bottles, laying between a bed of 2,000 nails
Yes,
while
I
somebody
remember that
lays on
gimmick.
you and bench presses 315 pounds like 20 times.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that, which got their attention. But in the schools, we would talk against gang violence,
Yeah.
teen suicide, teen pregnancy, drugs, you know, be the best you can be. You know, you're in charge of your life. You know, you can make what you do happen. If you believe it, you got to believe in yourself. And then we'd say, if you want to see the whole show, have your parents bring you to the church. We're going to be at this church these days. Come see the big show, where it's more extravagant. You know, bricks on fire, blocks of ice. You know, breaking out of police handcuffs and stuff like that. And they would come, and we had a chance not only to talk, like I said, in the schools against those things like DARE, but we got to preach our own testimony on how we accepted Jesus and what we were like before. And that really, me doing Gladiators is not as important as having Christ in your heart. That's just a tool.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and people would accept the Lord and get them hooked up into that church, whatever church we were at.
Yes.
We always asked them, okay, you accepted Jesus. That's just the beginning. Get hooked up with a good church. Didn't necessarily have to be that one, but get into a Christian-based, Bible-believing church and continue your walk with God.
Yeah. So
that's
getting to the point with, you know, you go out and you do these feats of strength and all these things. Was there like a training time or anything that you had to go through and learn some of this stuff, or did they just go, "Hey, here's the hot water bottles, blow them up"?
That's what he did. That's exactly what he did.
Wow.
Trial by fire, on the job training. I had martial art background since I was 12.
Yeah.
So doing the bricks and stuff was.
Oh yeah, that's nothing.
I never did them on fire, but throwing the
never did them on fire.
Throwing the side kicks and then going through the blocks of ice. There was a big 400-pound block of ice, and they would cut it in sections. So 4 sections would be 1 block of ice, and then I'd have to run through them, or break through them with forearms, or kicks sideways. I mean, there was just so many things we did, but like I said, to me that was superfluous. I liked talking about building people up and being motivational. Yeah. I mean, there were several kids that came to me and said, I was going to commit suicide.
Wow.
I was thinking about taking my own life, and
you
if
got
you
them
could
on
make
a right
difference in
path.
just
That's
one
fantastic.
person.
That's fantastic. We have got a great guest with us today. Rico Constantino is with us. We have talked a little bit about everything, and some of the other things. How do you go from doing all the stuff that you're doing to end up as a Las Vegas police officer? I guess I missed that part.
When I was a kid. I wanted to be a fireman, so I tried out to be a fireman first.
Yeah.
And they said my height to weight ratio didn't match. They said for my height I was supposed to be 176 pounds.
Oh yeah.
Well, I was 218 pounds pure muscle. Bodybuilding shows.
Man.
My waist was 32. I was taking the 200-pound dummy and throwing it across the line. And they went, well, no, we can't take you. So I still wanted to help. So I went to apply for the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department.
Yeah.
And I went through their testing. Did good, and on the oral board, out of 100%, I got a 98 out of 100.
Wow.
And they even came out and asked me, were the questions fair? Did you think this was fair? And they interviewed me to say, was this fair?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, about a month later, a letter came and said we all had to retest because somebody who tested claimed age discrimination. And I went, well, why do I need to test again? I gave you my best. that's the best I can do. The only way I can go now is down.
Yeah.
I said, so take my score. They go, no, we can't. I said, well, you know what? If politics reaches this far out, I don't want to be part of your department.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. So I tried out for North Las Vegas Police Department. And I got on.
Wow.
I was number 10 on the list. Now, on the list, the first one always goes, right? He's automatically hired.
Oh,
Then
yeah.
there's the chief interview. They take 3. So 2, 3, 4, they pick one out of that. 5, 6, 7, they pick one out of that. 8, 9, 10, they pick one out of that.
Wow.
So I was the one picked. And they put me through a 16-week FTO program, field training program,
Yeah.
to see if they wanted to send me to police academy where they don't waste their money. Because if I didn't pass the 16
Oh,
weeks,
yeah. Yeah.
they would go to the next guy.
Yeah.
So I passed the 16 weeks, and they sent me up to Northern Nevada to the Highway Patrol Academy. So I was with officers from all over the state of Nevada.
Yeah.
And I graduated valedictorian
Wow.
in my class.
Holy
Yeah.
smokes.
Dingbat me. I was valedictorian.
Dingbat me.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
And the funny thing was, the chief that hired me, he said, don't you come back unless you graduate number 1. He said that before I even left.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, that was great. Right. Then when I came back number 1, oh my God, this chief loved me.
So
I was on special assignments and all this
Wow.
other stuff. I was like his little protege.
So basically, people, the from what I can gather here, the story of Rico Constantino is you have people tell you something, or like Gemini cut a promo on you, what you believe to be you, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, I gotta go kick their ass, or I've got to go prove them correct, or whatever. I think that's great.
I'll tell you another example of that.
Yes.
While we were practicing in the Gladiator arena,
Yeah.
right? On the last day, I was doing the hang tough. I was swinging around
Oh,
like an
yeah.
ape. And there was a bunch of people on one side of the stands.
Yeah.
And I didn't know then who they were, but they were people involved with the show. They're the writers, the producers, executive producers, directors, just people involved behind the scenes.
Yes.
And I'm swinging around, and these people have been watching me for 2 days. And every time I learned something, like how to climb the wall better, I would tell the guys. I'd tell the other contenders. Or I learned how to do the bike, the hand bike.
Oh,
I was
the
telling
bike
them, lift
gimmick.
yourself up and roll your wrists and kick your legs. You'll go across a lot faster. Don't try to muscle it.
That's
I'm
great.
giving everybody the hints. On joust, if he stands this way, stand that way.
Stand that way.
Powerball, do this. I was giving everybody the hints, and all these people who were seeding us, they were, because that's what they were doing. They were like I said, seeding everybody.
Yeah.
Number 1 seed, number 2
yeah.
seed. So they were watching, and as I'm doing the hang tough, Aton Keller, the producer, gets on the bullhorn and says, Rico, I'd like to see you over here. So I jump off, fall down. I come over to the mat, and he pulls me up, and I'm looking at all these people in the stands, and he goes, Rico, I know the answer to this question already, but my colleagues don't understand. They think you don't understand the concept of gladiators. Could you please explain to them and why you are telling everybody how to do the events?
Yeah.
I said it's easy. I said, you as the American Gladiators dub these 5 guys to be the best of the best.
Yep.
And you ask for challengers.
Yep.
So I came with my measuring stick to see how I measure up to your best of the best, or what you call best of the best.
Yes.
And I said, the reason why I'm telling everybody what I know is because I don't want anybody to have an excuse when I beat them. Yeah.
That is fantastic.
And I said, so there's no excuse. And Aton says, I knew it. And he turned around to all those people and said, see, I told you. And he goes, go back and play, Rico.
Go back and do whatever you're doing there, Rico.
And I was playing around. But they thought I didn't understand the concept of gladiators. Except I don't want to win because I figured something out. I want to beat you at your best because I'm going to be at my best.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That they were like, I understand the concept, and I know you
Yeah.
understand the concept,
Yeah,
but
Eitan knew.
these
And then
guys don't get it.
And then a year later, he did something called Excuse me one second. Stay right there.
Yeah,
He
no
did something
problem.
called Conquer Fort Boyard. It's like the
Okay.
French version of like an American Gladiator. It's called the Keys to Fort Boyard.
Okay.
And it's a competition held on a fort in the middle of the ocean that was built by Napoleon Bonaparte. So there's caverns, there's caves, there's you climb the outside of this castle. You know, it's on YouTube. It's called Conquer Fort Boyard. Chris Berman and Kathy Lee Crosby was the hosts.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I tried out for this show, and the guy that beat me in the grand championship
Yeah.
was the team captain of the other team, and I was team captain of my team.
Wow.
So then, at the end of the show, I beat his team, and I got my revenge. But I did, and I looked at him. I said, I don't have a concussion this time, pal. And he looked at me like, that's not why I won. Well, that's why you won, Gladiators.
Yeah.
Because I had a concussion.
Because you had a concussion. You don't have it now, baby.
Yeah. So I did that in '92. Did that
Wow.
show. It's on YouTube somewhere, but it's called Conquer
That's
Fort
awesome.
Boyard.
That's awesome. So, what was the thing? What was it? The mental toughness that brought you through Gladiators? Because I get the impression it was the mental, not so much the physical part. Because you were already a good athlete. To me, it seems like you set
with
your
the Gladiators. It's a 10-hour day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people who didn't do martial arts or athletics, they would stay pumped all day long, and then towards the end of the show, they would burn out.
Oh yeah.
You know, because that was before
adrenaline
energy
dump
drinks.
is, I'm sure, insane.
You know. So I mean, when I did my season, I mean, later on they had locker rooms for the contenders.
Oh yeah.
Our locker room was under the bleachers where everybody sat. That was our locker room.
That was our locker room.
So, you know, you had to do the fall season, then the spring season, the male and the females.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a while in between events.
Yeah.
And OSHA was there because when you set up the wall, they had to make sure it was safe. When
Yeah.
you set up the eliminator, it had to be safe. Joust, safe. Atmosphere, you know, everything had to be OSHA certified.
Oh yeah.
So, and there was judges to judge the judges to make sure it was an actual real competition.
Okay.
And I said this the other day. I was doing the assault, and I got behind the grenade launcher, and the ref blew it because he shot and he hit. I thought he hit the handguard.
Wow.
With the tennis. But they stopped it, and they reviewed the videotape, and you just saw it nick my pinky. Just because my pinky was dangling down here. But I got disqualified because the Gladiator made a hit, but it was a reviewable. So they reviewed everything, and it was on the up competition, just like boxing, just like MMA, or any like football.
That's
tape
awesome.
review.
That's
so
awesome.
it was a real competition. There was no goofing around. Not I'm your buddy, you're my buddy, or I know this person. This was a real competition.
Real competition. Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know about the second version with Hulk and Miss Ali.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
That whole thing.
But I will tell you this. I called Terry because there was a guy named Wolf on that second time around.
Oh, yeah.
I did not like that man. I called Terry and I said, Terry, get me on one show. I'll do it for free. Get me on one show. I want him. I want him. I want him. He goes, I'll do what I can, brother.
Dude.
He couldn't, but
So
I
what's the heat with this Wolf guy?
Oh, he was just obnoxious.
Oh.
he was a gladiator. His
yeah.
name was Wolf.
Yeah.
And he was just obnoxious. The way he treated the contenders, the way he treated the spy, it was just total, to me, in my opinion, total disrespect.
Yeah.
Total disrespectful. It dishonored the first era of the Gladiators.
The Gladiators.
And here I am, one of the champions. So I want to set things straight. Now, I'm not going to go beat him up. That's childish. But I want to beat him at his own game.
You want to beat him in his own game in front of the world.
Yeah. I'd have brought you down a couple of pegs.
That's
even
great.
as an old fart.
Well, I'll tell you.
I took my Geritol.
We have got a great guest with us today. Rico Constantino joins us here in our program, and we have been just having a blast with him. So Rico, you do all this stuff. You've got the law enforcement background, this power team deal. You end up. By the way, how did the power team end up? Did you end up just, edging out of that?
I got back into the executive protection field. All of a sudden, I went back and. I mean, not just bodyguard, where you bodyguard rock groups.
Yeah.
My clientele, I got to meet 4 different presidents of different countries.
Holy smokes.
I met Daniel Ortega.
Wow.
I met Itzhak Rabin twice.
Wow.
And then I was going to meet him a 3rd time, and then somebody went and assassinated him. So I took care of that.
Yeah.
But that's the clientele I was bodyguarding. I got into EP.
Wow.
And I'm not talking about Blackwater or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now, I'm talking clientele. I would work with our Secret Service, our Department of Justice. I'd work with their Secret Services, Department of Justices, their governments.
Wow.
I've met 2 presidents in Africa, the president of Nicaragua, Daniel Ortega, Itzhak Rabin. I'm pretty sure there's a couple other high-level dips that I...
Man.
A Princess of Jordan. Stuff like that. I've been around this ball twice, at least twice, in different countries. My passport had so many. I had to add leaflets, and they said, "Well, we can't add anymore. We got to give you a new one." So I still have my passports. Have been, I was flying. We first started flying commercial, and then we started getting into the Gulf Streams, G2Bs, G4s. Flying in, flying out.
Wow.
Then I went to different clients. I did that for a while until about 98. And I was into the EP. I had my own private investigating business. I was working with State Farm and farmers. And I was filming the people who said, "Oh, my neck, I need $2 million. I hurt my neck." And then they're out golfing. I would catch these people. "Oh, my back,
awesome.
my back." And next thing you know, they're
skydiving.
Lawnmowers. And they're fine. So I would catch all the false fraud people. I get them on video. And the insurance companies would say, "Okay, either you drop this suit or we're going to prosecute you."
Yeah.
And you owe us money for what we've been paying you. So I did that. And my brother had a bail bonds business here. So in 98.
I was getting ready to ask you if you've ever done any bounty hunting.
Oh, my God. Yeah. See, in 96 and 97, I came into town, but I was making good money in Florida.
Yeah.
And I came in and I cleaned house for my brother. He was a great bail bondsman. Knew everything about the bail, but he couldn't manage people. Yeah. He was too nice. He had too big of a heart, and they'd run over him. And then Big Brother would come in and just, like a hockey stick, clean house, straighten out the files. All his files were in order, get all the bank accounts in order, because the bail bonds is run by the Division of Insurance.
Yes.
Here, you need a license, and you had to make sure the surety had their record straight because they could get penalized. So when I came in, I would do that because I was 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off on the bodyguarding. After I left, one client went to another one. So I'd come in, and then he'd ask me to stay. I said, "No, I'm making money. I got a house. I'm this and that." And then 98, it got to the point I went, okay, he can't do it. I can't keep coming back and forth. Family before friends, family before job. And I quit. And I came here in 98 and took my test. And I was the general manager of A-Best Bail Bonds. And I was a fugitive recovery agent. Wow. So I went out and did the bounty hunting. Yeah. And that was around the time where Dog had his show.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I have nothing bad to say about Dog himself.
Yeah.
I don't know the man, but him putting that show on ruined me as a bounty hunter because he was giving up all my secrets because he would show them.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I don't like the show Cops. I don't like the show Live PD because you're watching how cops operate.
Oh, yeah.
Who watches those shows? Criminals.
Criminals.
Criminals watch the show.
Well, you know what's funny, and I gotta tell you this since you brought up Dog the Bounty Hunter. I've gotta tell you that a little bit of a story of when Dog the Bounty Hunter came to Hutchinson, Kansas, of all places. A few years ago, I'm lifting weights at the local gym, and I get this call from. I'm getting calls from all sorts of people. They're like, "Oh my God, Dog the Bounty Hunter's in town. He's filming his show. You got to get down here." Blah, blah, blah. And he was doing some episodes of his show here in Hutch, and I guess for whatever reason this got around town. Oh my God, Dog the Bounty Hunter's here. And there was this woman who lived in the old, as the Mangler likes to refer to it, the Swiss Army apartment. She lived in the Swiss Army apartment, and she calls up this bail bonds company that Dog was at, and she's like, "Me and my boyfriend have warrants.
Come get me.
If we come down there, can we be on the show?" He's like, "Sure." So they arranged a deal at a bar, and they showed up, and they got arrested, and they didn't get on the show. But I'm like, how does this... Have you ever dealt with criminals that have been this way, Rico, in all your...
Oh, yeah. Oh, I mean, I'm telling you right now, in my 14-year police career, I never, ever caught a smart criminal. I always caught the dumb ones.
Yeah.
So the smart ones got away. I mean, they'll tell them themselves, you show up, right place, right time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it falls in your lap. Sometimes you got to work for it. I come from the old school of cops. I had an old salt. He was on his last 3 years, and he did everything in the department, but he took the FTO position, field training officer, because he got a 5% bump in his wage.
Yeah.
Which, when you retire, you get the last 3 years of highest paid.
Yeah.
So he did it, and an old guy, and he gave me a couple of nuggets that I never forgot. And one was that ingrained in my brain, is still ingrained. We were in the car, met each other a couple days in, and he's driving, and he looks over, he goes, "So, who do you work for?" And I went, "North Las Vegas. I'm a police officer for North Las Vegas." He goes, "Nope." I went, I looked at my patch, I looked at my badge. I'm like, "I work for North Las Vegas." He goes, "No, you do not." I said, "Then who do I work for?" He says, "You work for the people of North Las Vegas. The city pays you, but you work for the people. Don't ever forget it."
Wow.
And I went, "You know what? He's right. I work for the people." And then he told me another one. He said, "I'm going to advise you don't have to do this. Get a locker at work, hang your uniform up in a locker.
Yeah.
When you come from home and you put your civilian clothes in that locker, that's where home stays. When you put your uniform on, you're an hour police officer."
Wow.
He said, "When you take that off, you are no longer a police officer unless there's an emergency. You do not bring home to work. You do not bring work home. You separate it." And he says, "Do not get yourself cop friends, because all you're going to do is talk cop. You're going to burn yourself out." He goes, "Get a hobby." I mean, he didn't mean like don't have friends that are cops, but just don't just hang around police officers, because you're going to talk about stories and, "Oh, I did this," and you're never going to get it off your brain.
Yeah.
And that job is like a fireman. When you don't work, you don't work. You're sitting around. When you're not working as a cop, not answering a call, you're driving around. You're doing the ounce of prevention as a cop. Being seen, being visual. But when you have to go to work and the radio goes off and a robbery or burglary or domestic violence or shooting, then you're working. Then you earn your money. Otherwise, you're just loafing. I mean, I had
He's
officers
just loafing.
that stayed in their car somewhere. I couldn't get them out of their car with a can opener. They would stay in their car their whole shift. I mean, never got out. I mean, that's not being a public servant.
No.
So, but like I said, I carried that on. I haven't carried it when I became a cop again. And I had to go through another academy. I graduated valedictorian there too, right after wrestling,
Yeah.
2005.
Yep.
And then I got hired by the state of Nevada as an investigator. And then shortly after that, I got hired by the United States Marshals as a district security officer.
Wow.
And I was a part-time U.S. Marshal.
Holy smokes.
I did that for 11 years until in 2016, I got sick. Until they
Yes.
found 2 blood clots, one in each, and you can't do nothing when you can't breathe.
Well, that too.
Yeah, so I was forced to medically retire.
Well, Rico, this hour has flown by.
We
My
did an
friend.
hour.
We did an hour here, baby.
Wow.
And I've already got people requesting you to have you back.
Tell them thank you.
But
Tell them the right questions. Tell them the right questions, and then give them to you, and we'll answer questions.
oh yeah, we're definitely going to do that next time, my
Okay.
friend. But
Right.
as we wrap up here, how do people find you on social media? Find you on the web? Anything? Can people write to you? Anything?
I don't do social media. I don't do Twitter, TikTok, none of that stuff because I don't like it. I'm on Messenger. The only reason why I have a Facebook page is because Chris Featherstone and Kenny Bolin made a GoFundMe account for me and PayPal account when I told them don't, but they did it anyway. So that's how come I have a Facebook account, but I'm not active. There's a gentleman in South Korea named Terry Jong who has the Rico Constantino appreciation page, and he runs it from South Korea.
That's fantastic.
And I've since I've been plugging it on some podcasts, it's getting a lot more active. So you can reach me through there, or hit the Star Maker up. Get on
Kenny
write the
Bolin.
Star Maker.
Kenny
Yeah,
Bolin.
Kenny Bolin. Ask a question. He'll call. He'll send it to me, and I'll write back. I mean that's why, and that's one of the reasons why I don't do social media, because my personality is, if I can't answer everybody back, I feel terrible.
Well, yeah, that too.
Everybody's important to me.
Yeah.
Because they understood the character, and the fact that the fans remember me after over 15 years, and I was just a mid-card guy. I wasn't no heavyweight champion. I was a mid-card fella, but I was entertaining, I guess.
You were entertaining,
So,
yes.
Fans have my address. They mail me trading cards, photos. Sometimes they make me photos of us together. They send a self-addressed stamped envelope. They say, Rico, can you sign this and send it back? And I send it right back. I don't charge. Some guys charge, I guess. I don't charge. If you want to have my autograph that bad, and and to me, it makes me more humble that these people understood what I did, how I did it, and liked my work.
Yes.
And they liked it. So I have no problem signing, sending, or answering questions. I'm learning how to answer questions on that appreciation page. So you got to give me some time on that. I'm learning because I don't do social media.
Oh, yeah.
And Terry from South Korea helps me out a lot.
That's awesome.
He monitors the page, and he doesn't get any money for it.
Yeah.
But he's also a great fan. In fact, he calls me, because my real name is Americo Sebastiano Costantino, which is Sicilian. So he calls me Captain Americo.
Captain Americo. That's fantastic.
So I'm Captain Americo.
That could be your new CB name.
I don't. But he calls me Captain.
That's great.
I said, okay. But he's posting. If you send me this, I'll put it, and he'll post it on the page.
Yeah, we'll definitely make sure you get copies of this and everything.
Yeah, and then people will see it. And then if you write it, or write Kenny Bolin. Or I do run-ins on his show.
Oh, I've seen many run-ins on his show.
Yeah, and the fans aren't shy. They ask.
No.
And last night they had some good questions, and I answered a lot of things. And I said, and 2 days before that on Saturday, I did a run-in, and I've known Kenny over 20 years. And a fan asked, 3 different fans asked questions, and Kenny got 3 stories he never knew about.
Wow.
I forgot about them, and the fan asked the question.
Well, that's great. Well, Rico, it's been fun. I definitely will be in touch. We'll definitely have to do this. Hey, we may end up having to do this next month, if it's possible.
I tell you what, anything's possible.
Because I've already
Wednesday.
Because I've already got somebody requesting to come on and chat with you by the name of Kenny Zombie Jones, who is a local pro wrestler.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Kenny wants to be on with us, so we will definitely do this next month. I will be in touch. Thank you, my friend. This has been amazing, and Brittany is going to be terribly jealous that we talked fish and she wasn't here.
Well, everybody, as you can see, everybody is still here.
They're all still there,
attendance.
baby.
See, all the my jailbirds, my chain gang, my cartel, they're all here. See?
Look at that.
Them all. Here they are.
There they are.
There's my pet boys.
You're good to go, baby.
Next time I'll show you the dinosaur fish. I'll bring the camera over and I'll show you. Bring your girlfriend on and I'll show you the bikers.
That'll work. We will do that, brother. Have yourself a wonderful evening. Thank you.
You too. God bless
everybody.
You, Rico. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, brother. There he goes, Rico Constantino. Ooh. Holy smokes. And that wraps it up here from our world-famous Jiggy Jaguar radio broadcast. You can find us each and every day, it seems, over there at AMFM247.com. We'll see you next time.